Hi everyone, my name is Christian, and this is the project Unit 1 for the cognitive skills. This project is about the technology pollution and is conformed by Christian Adriel, Ángel Abraham Lugo and Ángel Iván Mayo. In this project, we are going to talk about the different um, about a problem and the different solutions and strategies that we select to prevent the pollution in different ways. So let's start to Iván Mayo.
Hello, I'm Ivan, and I'm going to talk about the structured presentation. With this, I mean that I'm going to explain the four steps of problem solving. The first one is the understanding of the problem. To solve something, you need to understand the situation, the problem, the conflict, and everything else. You need to know why it's happening, what do you want to do with the problem, how you want to solve it. And when you have all that, you make a plan. This plan is the plan you're going to carry out. This is the third step. But making a plan is important because you need to consider several factors and all the things involved to carry out the plan. Then, when doing the plan, you need to follow the steps you made. And with this, there might be some changes. Maybe the project will go perfectly, but sometimes it can change. But you need to take note about it. And the final step is to check the answers. Um, to this, I mean that you need to see if those are the answers you wanted, or you need to do something different, or something didn't go as expected, and you need to upgrade your plan even though the problem is solved, or you try to solve or improve the situation.
Now let's talk about the problem. Um,
Then we continue with our statement about the problem. In this case, because we choose the technology pollution, then we are going to talk about it, and we need to state, we need to understand our problem. What's our problem? People consider the recycling is inconvenient. Why? Because it's too far away from their houses. It's not possible for them. They don't have a truck. They don't have someone who can take it to the recycle center because these are electronic devices. So they have special or specific recycle zones or industries that they take of them and they recycle. And not always is possible to do that. And some people even say that they just don't care. They just keep buying and keep replacing devices and just because they want, and they just throw the garbage to others, contaminating and generating more pollution. Another factor is many people only recycle because they are paid for it. I don't know. A company pays you for giving your broken microphone. It's a small amount, but they want to recover some money from their investment, and okay, so they fine. But this is also affecting because not everyone can pay you for your devices, your recycled devices, and there's some rules in other countries that they find you, they put you a sanction for not recycling. This is real. This is actually really real in some first world countries. And also, some people say that they don't have enough space to recycle, and this is completely normal because much of the people they don't have like a huge house to recycle to storage things. They just throw them away and they can't recycle them.
Now let's talk about our fishbone diagram.
To understand more our problem, we created this fishbone diagram, which starts with the fact that many people they don't have the culture about recycling, and because they don't have the culture of recycling, they can pass that knowledge or that culture to their kids, to their neighbors, to everyone else around them. And this is it's not happening then because they don't know the culture, and or they want to try it but they don't know how to. There are special steps for recycling these kind of devices because they are actually quite toxic if they are thrown into garbage only. Also, maybe due to the lack of steps, they recycle incorrectly, and they can cause even more damage. Not having enough space is also another important factor. They might not have a truck or a special place to recycle the things or spare parts, everything that. And the mixing of chemicals is actually really dangerous, which is related to all of the previous reasons mentioned. And the country does not actually have the infrastructure. This is true because I don't know if Mexico has a complete infrastructure to recycle electronic devices, the continuous waste in the garbage zones or downstairs with electronic devices, and they can't do anything about it. It's not possible because they don't have the rules or the money or the organizations or the facilities and all of that. And all of those situations contribute to this problem. There is a problem of the pollution in the world due to the lack of knowledge about the process of recycling for all the devices that they don't use. This is like our problem. And this diagram explains about it.
Now to talk about our plan, we have different strategies that my partner Ivan is going to explain about it.
Then we continue with the following, which is carrying out our plan. For this, we have a strategy. We decided to create campaigns in which we are going to explain the process of recycling different devices, because the way you recycle a cell phone is not the same you will recycle an old microwave. This is important. People need to know this knowledge and learn this culture, and we will keep telling them this information, answering all types of doubts and everything like that. Now, once we finish that process of sharing knowledge, we implement containers, special containers for special devices or some groups of devices and things like that. And those containers are going to be placed in places that the talks are taking about. This means that we're not going to put a container in a place we haven't talked about it, the situation.
Let's move on to the presentation for the first strategy about the devices. So the presentation we are is going to take a different points, and there are the following: and devices that are true the most, the consequences and benefits, the waste separation, and the process of different devices. So this is a little explanation about the devices that throw away the most. In this case, there are three: refrigerators, freezers, and cell phones. And it's important that the people know that devices are the most common than having and know that they can be part of the problem. It's important to identify if we have these devices in our house and the consequence of not recycling. And we present 5 points: increase pollution, increase the greenhouse gases, destruction of the natural habits, and ocean pollution. It is important that the people first know the consequences and take to the positive experience to the next activity. They become aware of consequence of not recycling. Now we have the benefits of recycling. It's a little and short explanation about the benefits because important is the activity. The activities you must take you must make people imagine what a world would be like without being recycled, and that based on their conclusion and imagined experience, think now how it would be a world where recycling processes are respected. It's thankfully to the theory of Schoenberg that thought that the way to learn a problem is important to have an experience, a past experience. Let's move on with the waste separation. That is important point in this presentation. There are four types of waste separation: mechanical, chemical, and energetic and biological. In this case, it's important to focus in the chemical because it's involved with the batteries involved in this separation. And next, we are going to present the process to recycle different materials, in this case, the batteries and the electrical and electronic equipments. It's just information about the process. It's not the people will won't be able to do this process because it is complicated. But it's just to the people identify that there are a process, an important process to make it. Then our tactic to teach the topic in different ages is each ages has a specific way to teach. In this case, the operational and specific operationals. Thankfully, to the Piaget theory that divided the ages of the human. In pre-operational and specific operations, it will be taught that the child see only the consequences and how it could be solved. True and sorry. Then we have the formal operations. They will be taught in a such way that with facts, consequences, and benefits of the correct handling and disposal of highly hazardous material for the environment. A little more technical languages will be used. An explanation for this fears is tragedy. It is important for the people to understand the recycling process of these two materials and the types of waste separations. Once the batteries are separated, the containers where the batteries can be disposed of. That is the next strategy that we are going to present for my partner Lugo.
Implement container is the second strategy. We're going to focus on the batteries. They are the ones that most the people probably count. Thankfully, to the talk, the people most know the benefits and the dangers of the incorrect treatment of the batteries. So we know it's difficult all this process to recycle, but we can help with the implements. The order on the list is based on correct amount of the garbage found. The process depending in the zone um, implement the containers in different points in the map city.
Okay.
So the question that we know is, can we reduce the number of the batteries discarded on the floor? Well, in short term, it's technically impossible to solve the problem of battery because the components and chemicals with which they are manufactured are too long life, and their degradation is complicated since we would have to expose the environment in some way or another way. So the real solution would be in a lower terms. Why? Since we would have to stop using the essential components for many every device. And the last question is, our solution makes sense? Well, we heard the two different ways that we solve the problem, but we have to keep two things in mind when we analyze these questions. One, that the strategies are good, but as we know, we have to keep in mind that we can always improve the strategies to more real fields information we have. And the second thing to analyze is that we have to take into account the human factor. Uh, as it is a variable that we have to keep in mind because not all people are willing to accept the rules, so imagine that we are new to them.
That is all for our part. And if you have any question, you can put in your comment box and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.